Hello and welcome to another episode of Tales from a Professional Nerd. My name is Bryan Steele and I will be your nerd today. And any other day that you watch one of my goofy little shows. Alright, so it's been 2 weeks because I went on a little cruise with my wife. A belated honeymoon, which actually is the meat of this episode. We'll get into that in a minute. We're gonna talk about the week in Bryan. Technically, it's 2 weeks in Bryan, but it's really just 1 week because one of those weeks is the meat of the episode. Blah 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 blah. You understand. Before we get into the week in Bryan, I want to take one quick moment to mention that there is currently a lot of there's a lot of negativity going on in the gaming industry right now. A lot of people are angry with each other. I'm not going to get in and comments on specifics or anything like that. But I do want to say that as a people, as a society, as a culture, as a subculture, as a whatever you want to call us, I think we need to learn to let people solve their problems, let people get through their problems, and have a little more acceptance and forgiveness in our in collectively in culture. Lately, I know a lot of people hate the term cancel culture, but it has really honestly become a real thing where people, they make a mistake, and before they have an opportunity to even try to repair what has happened, or make amends, or point out, hey, I have been trying, or I am going to the doctor, or there's a host of things that could be going on. Life is faceted, life is malleable, and unless you stick to your guns and continue down that same negative path, people are condemning others, especially because of the power of the internet. It turns into this, I heard a thing from a person, and now suddenly, someone's career is ruined, someone's life is ruined, someone is teetering on the edge because you don't know what else they're dealing with. And I'm not commenting on any particular instance. I'm not going to get into that because it's not my place. It is not my place to interject and say, here's my spot. Giving your opinion is one thing, that's fine. But when people start throwing their opinions around as facts and start linking to other people's opinions as facts and so forth and so on, the damage that is caused across the board can be significant. And I guess I don't know what I'm trying to get at here, but before we get into the rest of the episode, I just really kind of wanted to say, I hope that sometime today, tomorrow, the next week, month, year, whatever, I hope that someone offers you the kind of forgiveness and compassion and the ability to make amends and repair a bad situation that you have the opportunity to possibly deal that out now. We just really, as a people, we need to be better. And that goes on pretty much in every instance. Is just try to be better. Try to not make other people hurt. Try not to add to other people's hurt. And if you have the ability, maybe help someone along the way. That's really all I got for that. Yeah. All right. So now that that's out of the way, the week in Bryan. I didn't get a whole lot of role playing in aside from what I'm going to talk about in the episode, because I was preparing to go on this trip. There was if you were following the Kickstarter and you saw my little kind of pop-in video, the Kickstarter, man, whew, got postponed, got pushed back. More news on that in the future as I find out things, and as we, with Resnova, when we kind of hammer things into place. We had a really good meeting yesterday about kind of the future, some of the adjustments we're going to make, and some of the future things that we're doing, which I'm really excited about. But obviously, until that gets more hammered in, I can't really talk about it. But know this, if you are a Warzone fan, that we are definitely full steam ahead. We're going back and bridging the gaps that we feel were there, and the next approach. Obviously the game stays the same. Don't worry about that. If you're like, you watched a battle report, or you've listened to what I've had to say about how the game works, all that's staying the same. This is really just a marketing restructure to try and hit that Kickstarter in a way that proves to the licensor, and proves to, honestly, a new crop of players, fans, that will hopefully push that game forward through its different waves and releases, in a way that doesn't turn out to be we can afford to do the first wave and that's it. So good news on that front. On the work front with Renegade, I love them. I love the work I get to do with them. I love being able to produce the stuff that I do. And I am currently neck deep in a very, very cool Transformers source book. More on that when I can talk about it. And I think so. This weekend is Origins over in Columbus, Ohio, which I'm not going to be at. Just coming back from a vacation and whatnot. I've got way too much work to do, and that is an expense that I just couldn't do immediately off of the on the back heels of my belated honeymoon. But if you are at Origins, I do know that there are at least some of our games, some of our Essence 20 games are being played. I know that there's some demo guys that are running stuff there. So if you get a chance to play, and then come back here and tell us how it went, that'd be awesome. I would love to read comments about how you guys enjoyed Essence 20 stuff. Let's see, what else? That's really it for work, because again, I've been gone. But full steam ahead on the Transformers stuff, and still, I've got some things shaping up for Power Rangers as well, but that's I kind of need to get through this book before I can really start devoting brain power to the next Power Rangers book. That's pretty much it. Except, so there was a really cool thing that happened literally just last night. So before I left on the cruise, one of my longtime friends, in fact, one of the reasons why I have most of the friends I have in the Lafayette area is because of this guy, calls me up out of the blue and goes, "Hey, I don't remember. Do you like the Jackass guys, Johnny Knoxville and Chris Pontius and those guys? Did you like watching Jackass, or I don't remember?" And I said, "I definitely do. I'm a huge fan. I own all the DVDs. I've seen most of the movies in the theater. I even own some of the spin-off shows on DVD. Yes, I'm a huge fan." And he goes, "Well, because I've got these tickets to go see Steve-O when he comes to town." So Steve-O, of Jackass fame, has been doing a kind of stand-up video show in kind of in concert with his podcast from his tour bus, and he came to my town. And well, my friend Bobby, he got tickets to go see him, and he thought of me, and so I joined him. Well, it was not just a ticket. It was a legitimate VIP, full access. I got to basically hang out 10 feet away from him for the whole show. We were like, just inside a front row dead center to see Steve-O and his show. And then we got to stick around for a meet and greet afterwards. How cool is that? I was blown away. Not only was the show was amazing, but I personally, Steve-O's current extremely positive outlook on life, the way he has come back from the edge of destruction, and now he's engaged. He has got this wonderful dog, Wendy, which I got to meet, and I got a selfie with. That's right, took a selfie with the dog. What's up? But it was an amazing show. It was so good. And then afterwards, I got to get a couple of pictures with him and talk for a few minutes. And it was awesome. It was really awesome. I'm a big fan, and I tried not to fanboy, but I'm sure there was a little there. There was a little glowy fanboy moment. But that was how I spent my night last night, was going to this show, and it was very, very cool, and I'm super pumped. And so if the bucket list tour, if Steve-O's bucket list tour comes anywhere near your town, I highly recommend it. You're gonna see a lot of male nudity in the clips that he shows. But it is, if you're into Jackass, if you are into that style, and you want to hear a lot of really cool stories about Steve-O's life in the last few years, totally worth it. And from what I understand, there was a very good chance that they were recording it last night for possibly mass media, presentation later on. So who knows? Maybe I'll be able to point you to a Netflix release or a Hulu release or whatever later on. So it was awesome. I was super excited. It definitely brightened my day and made me. I came home walking on sunshine. So that was very cool. And then now today, let's go ahead and talk about the topic at hand, and that was my belated honeymoon. So I went to close friends of ours, Satine Phoenix and Jameson Stone. We've known them for years. We ran into them at GaryCon, and Satine we were talking, and they mentioned that they were doing this gamer excursion. They run these things called Satine's Quest, which are kind of special D&D stretches, D&D role-playing at kind of fantastical places, whether it's at a castle or your big mansion, or in this case it was on a cruise ship. And we were talking about it, and it sounded pretty cool, and Satine hooked me up with her travel agent, and we were talking about it, and at some point I was like, you know what, we're gonna do it. We can make this happen. And so I did. And so Natalie and I went on this cruise as our 5-year belated honeymoon. It took for a while to get to the point where we could, but we made it happen. And not only was the cruise itself awesome, going to see Bermuda. I've never been to Bermuda. Natalie's never been on a cruise. Our first night out on the water, we had a pod of dolphins, literally. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. So we took a plane from Indy to New York early. We get there, we get to JFK, and unfortunately, I missed the window to book the tram, the bus that takes you from the airport to the boat. So I ended up having to get a town car for just Natalie and I, which was kind of cool. It was neat to have someone with our name in the window. Like this car is specifically for us. And so we hopped in and we drove across town, and we got to drive through Manhattan. We drove past Bryant Park. It was really cool. I've never been to New York. I've had layovers in New York, but I've never actually been to the city. So in this case, this was the first time I got to see it from kind of ground level. It was neat. It was neat to see some of these things that I've seen in movies. We drove through Hell's Kitchen. So for all you Daredevil fans, I was like, oh, Hell's Kitchen stuff. It was just a really cool, momentary trip that took us to the boat. And then when we got to the boat, things got a little hectic. They couldn't check her in. They could check her in, but they couldn't check me in. There was a problem with my debit card. It wasn't attaching to the account properly. Oh, it was kind of a nightmare. And what should have been only about 10-15 minutes worth of walking and waiting and going through these lines turned into about an hour and a half. And by the end of it, we were sitting in a chair waiting for cruise management or whatever to check us in manually. And when they did, they gave us our cards, they gave us our paperwork and stuff. And the lady looked at me and said, "Okay, your room is 10780." Except that was not the same room that Natalie was given. And I'm like, did I just pay for 2 rooms? Because that would be tragic. And she's like, no. This is your room. I've coded her card to it. This is your room. And I was like, all right, whatever. At this point, I just wanted to be able to set our luggage down and get comfortable on the boat before it leaves. And so we get inside. We check with our muster station. Basically, check to say, hey, we're on the boat. And we get to the room. And a little bit of background, something that the Norwegian Cruise Line does is they let you bid. Basically, you can offer bids to try and buy better rooms. So my room, which was in the belly of the beast, this basically just a chunk of turf to throw our stuff on the ground or throw our stuff in a closet and then move on to where we're going. I bid on an external chunk in the belly of the beast that had a porthole because I was really kind of hoping to be able to see, at least look out through the little window and see the ocean. And we go to this room and we scan our card. Door unlocks, of course. We open it up, and not only did this and the morning of the trip, I got the email from Norwegian that said my bid was not accepted, that I did not bid high enough to try and buy one of the better rooms. So we get to the boat, we scan the thing, I'm opening the door, getting ready to walk into what I believe is going to be a belly of the beast internal room. And I open the door, and not only is it not a stock cabin, it has a couch, it has sliding glass doors onto a balcony. It is better than the room that I was bidding on and that I didn't get. And so I was like, what the heck happened? I look into, immediately my first thought is, oh God, there's been a mistake downstairs, and I just had $1,000 upgrade added to our room. So I checked my account. Everything was fine. Didn't get charged for anything. It just seemed really, really confusing. I didn't know what's going on. So we checked with guest services later, and they said, no, management put you in this room. So I think what happened is because we had to wait, and there was the circus with all the different, desks that we had to go to and back and forth, and that it took so long, I think that they upgraded us for free. Which was awesome. Awesome. It was a great room. I love the ocean. I love the sound of the ocean. So being able to open our sliding glass doors at night and just listen to the waves, listen to the nothing out in the middle of the the ocean. But on that first night, first we'll say evening. It was probably maybe afternoon. I was sitting on the bed looking out the window, and I thought I saw some kind of animal in the water. Ended up being just a piece of trash, which is sad. But I looked out and I saw the thing, and I was like, oh, okay. But then it got us looking outside, and Natalie goes, oh, I think there's another one. Except then the water goes bloop, and it was so this like thing that she thought was trash pops up, goes vertical, and then does one of these numbers. We were able to see, it was a little far out so we couldn't see the body of it, but it was definitely some kind of shark, probably eating a fish or something at the top of the water, or maybe maybe it comes to the surface to play. I don't know. Whatever it was, we got to see it, and that was awesome. It was like, oh my god, legitimately wild shark right there. Cool. And then in that same time, when we're standing on the balcony, I look over to my left, and I'm like, are those whitecaps, or are those? Nope. It was a complete pod of dolphins that decided to play and race with the boat for about 5-10 minutes. Natalie's got a bunch of video of the dolphins playing literally right outside of our balcony. It was awesome. Just a wild pod of dolphins in the middle of the ocean playing and racing and jumping next to our boat. We got to see a baby dolphin swimming with its mom. I mean, like, it was the kind of thing that people sometimes talk about, well, on our cruise we saw this in the water, and you always go, okay, but it was legit. This was a pod of dolphins just playing with our boat out in the middle of the ocean, like not next to shore, not by some resort with that they come out and they feed these dolphins every other day or anything like that. It was just literally a pod of dolphins was like, hey, there's this boat, let's go play with it. It was awesome. It was so cool, and it really did like put a smile on both of our faces. I'm still grinning about it now, and it really focused. It pointed out. It's it set the stage for just how awesome the rest of this vacation was. We ended up seeing a bunch of other wildlife, especially when we got to Bermuda. We took a glass bottom boat and went and saw a shipwreck and stuff. But let's actually talk about the reason why we chose this particular thing, and that was Satine's Quest. So Satine's Quest, like I said, is basically a special D&D vacation getaway. And in this case, you made a character, you got on their Discord service, you made a character of a set level and whatever, and when we arrived, they were like, okay, after a couple hours of settling in, go get some lunch, whatever, come down. They had a private, one of the little nightclub areas, was cordoned off specifically for us, for our group, which that happened a lot. A lot of times we had special events that were in private areas, like this particular club is just for us at this time. The go-karts are just for us at this time. The laser tag is just for us at this time. So like, part of this kind of gaming quest thing that we did was, as a group, we got to do things with just our group, which was awesome. It's so cool, so cool. And so we meet up, and before the cruise ever happened, during the planning stages of the cruise, Satine had asked, the Quest staff had asked, are there anybody that you want to game with in particular, or is there something special you want to set up? And Natalie and I had decided, since we game together all the time here at the house, that she had such a good time playing by herself at GaryCon with strangers, that we were going to do separate tables, which is weird on your honeymoon to spend so much time apart, but it ended up being just fine because the game sessions are only like 4 hours out of the day, and the rest of the time we got to hang out and do stuff and cool things. But it was we separated, we found our game groups. And basically the way this works is you're almost playing like a little mini campaign. They set the stage at the very beginning. They tell you, here are your party members. This is why you guys are together. They run a quick session 0. Everybody goes through their basically their consent form to make sure that you're not doing things that people are going to be unhappy with or upset or triggering or anything like that. And then you kind of get into sort of a mild role play session with one of the GMs. Sorry. Because that's the other thing. There were a total of 5 quest masters, which Dungeon Master, Game Master, Quest Master. And each one of your sessions was going to be with a new person. So you got to see, not only did you get to, your party stayed the same, so you got to kind of build some camaraderie with your party members, the characters involved, but you got to see 5 different styles of game mastering. It was really cool, because each one, one might be particularly cinematic and very dramatic. One might be, let's do everything on the game board. Let's do, down to the crunchy bits. And then there might be even another one that is very theater of the mind, but still, holds rules. Kind of holds to what the rules are. Isn't very loose on them. So it was really, really neat to see different styles of game mastering back to back to back to back to back, and to back. So you meet everybody up on that first night, and the next day, you have your breakfast, do some cruisy type things, and then you have your official first session. And from what we were told, is the first session basically was kind of the same for everybody, or at least how it starts. And then how it goes from there is up to the players, where they go, what they do. My group dealt with it as spies. Because the overarching story of this particular quest was we were all spies working for this revolution that fights against this evil cabal, and thankfully there are some rules set. There's no PvP. Everybody's supposed, you're not a hidden agent. I'm secretly working for the bad guys. The whole point of this is to have a week full of fun, and the last thing you want is some double agent on your team to suddenly backstab everybody and then be like, "Mwahaha, the plot is screwed." So, you meet everybody, you start getting used to everything, and so you get into this first session, and we handled it like spies. We played to our cover. We didn't get into any kind of combat. We cast some spells and stuff, but it was never anything that was like, oh, we're going to set the house on fire. And then we find out later on, because after that session, when the session closes off, you are all collectively invited to a masquerade. And the masquerade is basically an in-character get-together. It's basically like a rules-less LARP for your characters to get around and talk to the other groups to see how they handled things, what they did, maybe get clues that they found, that we, share information, because again, we're all supposed to be this big kind of like Rebel Alliance sort of thing. So we all passed around information, learned about things, talked about characters that maybe other people might not have known, little bits and bobs. But during that process, we ran into one guy and we talked to him, and he goes, one guy, and he's like, our group, we ended up having to hide a couple of bodies. And it's like, yeah, okay. And one guy's like, yeah, we just buried them and put flowers over the top of them. It was different play styles. One group was, the stereotypical murder hobos. And then, there are other groups that were more super sneaky. And then there were other groups that were more, we're going to lie our faces off. Our entire group, every single member of our group had the ability to at least once a day to go invisible. So we were like, very much, if we wanted to be out of the trouble of the situation, we could find our way to make that happen. And it was just it was a blast. It was a great time. So you get to the masquerade, you learn a bunch of stuff. The NPCs that are at the masquerade give you benefits and boons, and if you happened to make any money or get any items or anything, there was a midnight market at the masquerade that you could buy magic items for your characters. It was just a really cool way to do things. And then after that, you find out who your QM is going to be for the next day, and you play your session the following day. And over the course of this week, you do all these sessions with, of course, there's while you're in Bermuda, there was one day where there was no gaming event whatsoever. It was literally just go enjoy Bermuda, enjoy your vacation. That's where Natalie and I went and did some shopping. We did a glass bottom boat. We walked around the port dockyards, went to the Frog and Onion pub, which was really good, by the way. But then, on the other days, there was a couple of half days in port to do stuff, and there's also gaming things happen. On one of those particular days, we were able to play D&D on a beach, and I took this particular photo. That's right, that's us playing D&D on a Bermuda beach. How cool is that? I thought very cool, personally. But yeah, so it was a lot of fun. And then, the story progresses, and basically the way it works is after every session, after the masquerades, the questmasters get together and discuss what happened to their groups, and they put together like an important pack of notes on this particular group of players, and they pass it on to the next questmaster. So the next questmaster knows roughly what happened. They've got the bullet points of the big stuff, and then they can kind of pick up where the other person left off with this new plot line, this new the next session's worth of information. And it comes to a head with this big, giant, epic, awesome battle, which I'm not going to get into the giant, epic, awesome battle, because if you guys end up doing a quest, you know what, it's probably different. But they did something really cool that I'll bring up that I thought was awesome to a certain degree. Is the last game event, the big epic battle, for every group, it was all technically happening at the same place, even though we were being run in our different separate sections. We were all in different places on the same football field, kind of thing. Like basically, in this case, we were all at different stages at a music festival, and the stages were these different combat spots. We were all fighting roughly the same kind of critter, this big epic thing in the middle. And one of the things they said is that if your group is desperate for help, like you're just really getting smoked, you can fire a flare up, and any other characters from the other groups that might either maybe they're already done with their fight, or maybe that they are, hey, guys, you've got this handled, Team 3 needs me, you can run over and go help them. And I thought that was fantastic. I thought that was super, super awesome. I thought it was an awesome, way to kind of bring the parties back together for this giant epic fight, is to be able to kind of crisscross through the things. Where I find it personally to be a tiny bit of a weakness is the murder hobo group. They smoked their bad guy way faster than anybody else did, because again, like I said, these guys were designed to just destroy. And when they came to help someone else's group, it was not our group. We handled our own boss, but it sounds like when they came to help that other group, they sort of steamrolled in and was like, "Oh, guys, you can't handle your bad guy. Well, then we will." And they just came in and steamrolled a second bad guy. I know that if I was on that other team, the team that called for help, I would feel, shrunken down. My pride would be definitely scuffed up pretty bad if this other group that we called in for help just came in and did everything. I think when I get the opportunity to make notes with Satine and Jameson about how things went. Because I think they're going to put out a questionnaire, of how everyone enjoyed it, and things you liked, things you didn't like, that kind of thing. I think one thing I am going to say is, especially in the epic boss fights, if you can call for help, that's cool. It's a neat way to bring everybody back together. But the quest master should be told that the big bosses, they need to get beaten by the groups, by the individual groups. Because I know I would feel awful if we just got steamrolled, and then this other group that came in that just because they made their characters to be super combat monsters, they just killed their guy, and then they came in and killed another guy. And what's stopping them from being like, in the final wrap up, there was a little bit of bragging. We're supposed to be all super celebrating the fact that our groups collectively beat this super bad guy, and that the storyline is going to be, pushed forward, that the rebels, the Salvation is winning. And instead, there was a few moments where it was focused on, look how cool we are, we killed 2 bosses. Again, it's minor, it's not a big deal, but it is something that I know I would have... If I was on the other end of that, I would have been like, well, maybe next time I have to build an overpowered, min-max, power character. But we got to keep magic items. We got to level up our characters. So if we go to another Satine's Quest event and we bring this same character, basically that's how you level up in the Satine's Quest system, is you go to multiple quests and you grow... not exponentially, but you grow accordingly to how many adventures you've been in, and you get to bring kind of the knowledge and the characters' thoughts and the NPCs and things that you've been involved with, you get to bring along to the next quest. So it's really, really cool, and I look forward to doing it again. In fact, I would say if you have the opportunity, if you're a role player, if you're into D&D, and you have the opportunity, it is a little expensive, I won't lie. This one particularly because it was a cruise, and we were paying for the cruise more so than just playing D&D with our friends. But if you can get in on one of the Satine's Quest destination games or campaign weekends or whatever, if you have a way to make it happen, and this sounds fun to you, I say give it a try. Take that gamer vacation. Consider it like a different type of convention weekend, where instead of going to a convention and getting tickets for individual games and spending a bunch of money there, is you are buying tickets to private games with awesome quest masters, and with this neat shared world concept of other questers. It really, really was. It was a lot of fun. I'm going to put the Satine's Quest information in the description of the video. I look forward to not only getting to play the character again, and I know Natalie is excited to play her character again, but I just look forward to seeing what kind of effects we have on the greater canon of their world. It was a blast. It was a great honeymoon. We were tired and happy to come home and see our puppies and everything, but I would be lying to say that looking outside my window on that Monday morning and seeing that the grass needs mowed, and looking at the refrigerator and being like, you aren't a fully stocked restaurant or buffet. It had its moments, but I'm very, very looking forward to going out and doing another quest at some point. I can't say it enough. Obviously, Satine's Quest is what we did, and I hope that you'll look into that. But even if you just take a look at some of the other destination D&D stuff, like D&D in a Castle, or one of the podcasts does one that I can't remember what it is, but I believe it's based out of a Irish pub. Either way, There are other events like this out there. Hopefully I'll be able to see you maybe at a Satine's Quest sometime. That'd be great. But if you get the opportunity to do a destination D&D kind of gamer event, I can't recommend it enough. It was awesome. It was a lot of fun, and especially in today's world of downer news and negativity and hyperbole everywhere, I think having just a little bit of good fun, even if you've got to pay for it, is worth it. So next week, I don't know what I'll... Oh, no! I just looked at the calendar. I didn't pick a May raffle winner. Oh, my God. So, yeah, I can't do it right now because I got to put all the names into my randomizer. So, yeah, I will do that next week. Next week, the video we'll figure out what the topic's going to be, but I will make sure to get the May raffle winner picked by then. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. Cruise brain, I suppose. Well, regardless of all of that, we'll get that picked next week. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe below. And please be safe, get vaccinated, get boosted, wear a mask. Be kind to your friends. You don't know what they're going through. And if you get an opportunity, get out there, make someone else smile, brighten up someone else's day, and play some games. We'll see you next week.